There's something about wolves that has always captivated us. They haunt the night, their howls echoing beneath the moon, moving together as a pack. But somewhere in our ancient past, we started seeing a reflection of ourselves in these creatures. Today, we're unraveling one of the oldest and most chilling legends, the werewolf. Part 1. Ancient Roots, the birth of the werewolf myth. Our journey into the werewolf myth starts over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece, where one of the earliest recorded werewolf stories emerges. This tale is not just folklore, it's tied to a king, a god, and a punishment that would echo throughout history. According to Greek mythology, there was a powerful but foolish king named Lycaon, ruler of Arcadia. Lycaon wanted to test Zeus, the king of the gods, to see if he truly was all-knowing. In one of the more gruesome acts in Greek myth, Lycaon served Zeus a meal made from the flesh of his own son. Zeus, unimpressed and disgusted by this act of deception, decided to punish Lycaon by turning him into a wolf. In doing so, he stripped the king of his humanity, leaving him with only the instincts and savagery of a beast. This myth gave birth to the term lycanthropy, from lykos, the Greek word for wolf. The Greeks believed that this transformation was more than just a punishment. It was a warning about the dangers of tampering with the natural order. In their eyes, to become a wolf meant to lose one's humanity entirely. Part 2. Norse warriors and the power of the wolf spirit. While the Greeks gave us the first werewolf tale, they weren't the only ones fascinated by wolves. Across the cold, rugged landscapes of Scandinavia, the ancient Norse people had their own version of human-wolf hybrids. But these weren't cursed kings, these were warriors. In Norse mythology, there were the Ulfhedna, warriors who wore wolf skins into battle. These warriors believed that by wearing the pelt of a wolf, they could channel the animal's raw power, speed and ferocity. The Ulfhedna were often compared to their cousins, the berserkers, who wore bear skins. Both groups believed they could summon the spirit of the animals they wore, becoming almost unstoppable in battle. While they didn't physically transform into wolves, their ability to blur the line between man and beast was legendary. In many ways, this belief laid the foundation for later werewolf stories, showing that the idea of humans taking on the characteristics of wolves, whether mentally or physically, was already deeply ingrained in different cultures. Part 3. Medieval Europe, werewolf hysteria and trials. But if we want to understand how werewolves truly became the terrifying creatures we know today, we need to look at medieval Europe. By the 16th and 17th centuries, Europe was in the grip of werewolf hysteria. During this period, werewolf trials spread across Europe in much the same way as the witch trials. People believed that anyone could become a werewolf, often through dark magic, a pact with the devil, or simply being cursed. France was particularly notorious for these trials. One of the most famous cases was that of Gilles Garnier, known as the Werewolf of Dole. Garnier, a reclusive hermit, was accused of transforming into a wolf and murdering children. After confessing under torture, he was burned at the stake. The fear of werewolves wasn't limited to France. In Germany, the story of Peter Stump, a farmer known as the Werewolf of Bedburg, sent shockwaves across the country. Stump was accused of making a pact with the devil, using a magic belt to transform into a wolf and committing a series of brutal murders. His execution was one of the most gruesome in European history. In these trials, werewolves were often portrayed as demonic figures, humans who had willingly given in to the darkness and become beasts. These stories cemented the werewolf as not just a creature of folklore, but as a real and present danger in the minds of medieval Europeans. Part 4. Science, Psychology and the Werewolf Curse. By the 19th century, science and psychology began offering explanations for the werewolf phenomenon. One of the most fascinating theories is that some of the historical werewolves may have suffered from a rare condition called lycanthropy. a mental disorder in which a person believes they can transform into a wolf. In the early days of psychology, doctors began studying cases of people who claimed to be werewolves. These individuals were often found in remote villages, suffering from delusions or mental illness, and were ostracized by their communities. The idea of becoming a werewolf in many cases became a symbol of losing control over one's mind and body. Some modern researchers also believe that historical werewolf sightings could be explained by medical conditions like hypertrichosis, which causes excessive hair growth all over the body, giving the appearance of a wolf-like figure. Part 5. Popular culture and the modern werewolf. In the 20th century, werewolves transformed yet again, this time on the silver screen. The 1941 film The Wolf Man introduced the idea that a werewolf transforms during the full moon, a concept that became a central part of modern werewolf lore. Werewolves quickly became a staple of horror movies, often portrayed as tragic figures, cursed to transform into a beast against their will. The silver bullet, a concept popularized by movies, became the only way to kill a werewolf, further adding to the creature's mythos. Today, the werewolf continues to evolve, appearing in books, TV shows and movies as everything from terrifying monsters to misunderstood anti-heroes. Whether it's in horror films or supernatural dramas, the werewolf legend remains as compelling as ever. So, what is it about werewolves that keeps us coming back to their story? Maybe it's the fear of losing control, maybe it's the allure of the wild, or maybe, just maybe, it's the idea that somewhere deep inside us all there's a little bit of the wolf waiting to get out. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history of the werewolf. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into myths and legends.